I mean, it is. There's a lot packed into this film, and I honestly, it's like I've been given. Sean Bailey called me and said, "Hey, are you interested in doing a Cruella with Emma Stone in 1970s punk London?" And I was like, "Yes, that sounds very interesting." But he called me after I, Tanya, so and he wanted like a big soundtrack. He talked about the Clash and all this stuff. So I figured, all right, if they're calling me after I, Tanya, I'm going to like really lean into it and sort of go with my instincts again, like I did on I, Tanya. Of course, we had the Disney parameters to a point, but I wanted to have that darker version of it and really get to the sort of the emotional undercurrent of it, as well as having a lot of fun on top. I kind of wanted both extremes. And so I was never shy about leaning into any of it. It's like, it's like they had it on the page, but wherever it was on the page, I would lean into it even a little bit more dramatically, I guess. And they let me go with it.
And it works. It absolutely works. Now, can you talk to me about the time period and what helped inspire that version of the film?
From a character standpoint, it really worked for us, because what I loved about the through line of the story and Cruella's character is she's somebody that has this real talent and this real voice inside of her, and she's been told not to engage with it and not to like embrace it. And so, in 1960s London, you got to color within the lines. There's a way to do things. Her mother wants her to fit in, and they're not letting her be her true self.
Sure.
That manifests its way in and then again with the trauma. And it's not until like ultimately she ends up like leaning into her true self and really flourishing, but she's got a lot of baggage from stuff that's happened along the way. So I love that story. And it's that backdrop of the punk scene in London and the squatters in Notting Hill and going up against the anti-establishment just fits so well with her journey. The amazing thing with Emma Stone is there's nothing she can't do.
Right.
So the Lucille Ball part of it is just kind of like, was just delightful. Like when you see her like in Liberties with like the banana and her like the physicality that she has with that.
Sure.
Is just fantastic. But then the dramatic stuff that she can do, it's like to the other extreme. First of all, there's the Cruella, and that's a daunting task. Anytime you're doing a heightened character, for any actor, they're out on a limb, because it can get too arch. It can, you can lose the humanity of the character, and it's trying to find that zone that has it all. And she's so talented that, she sort of came out and she sort of gave me like a whole range. It's sort of like, so we could figure out where it fit tonally in this film so that we could get to the dark spots and the emotional spots and, and also the humor. So she has all of that. And then the scene that just like gave me chills with her, it's like that last final scene at the fountain. And it's a monologue for 3 pages, it's a 3-minute scene. And she's just so talented that we were going to do a little bit of coverage on that. And then on the day I called her and I said, you know what? I just want to do one handheld camera for the whole monologue. So there'll be no cuts.
Right.
And I'm going to shoot it at dusk. So we have 20 minutes.
Wow.
But I knew she could do it. Like we'd been working together for like a couple of months at this point. And there's just like, she could deliver every time. And we did 7 takes there. I said, look, I'm going to shoot the whole 20 minutes. Don't take it as you're doing anything wrong. It's just, I got 20 minutes. I'm just going to shoot till it's too late, till it's too dark. And then we got to, I think it was the 6th take, and it was just magical. And I'm watching, and I'm just like, she's so engaged and moving. And just as she turns her head to leave, the camera jammed. And I was like, oh, I thought we lost it. And amazingly, we managed to, like, in post, strip that head turn into another piece as she walks away. So we got the whole take. And then really, like, Tony brought in, which was an amazing adjustment. Originally, halfway through the movie, she stops working with the Baroness, and they don't really cross paths again. And he designed this really great conceit that she keeps working in disguise. And so they get to have all this screen time together for the second half of the movie. And there's some of the most engaging scenes where it's like, what does the Baroness know? Does she know? Is she onto her? And you know, like that scene in the restaurant, it's just like, it's just so loaded. And that was, you know, Tony's making. Disney's like, they're very loyal to the fans in terms of those touchstones. So, and we've got those in there, you know, obviously there's Roger and Anita, there's going to be, this is like they have not met at this point in the film, but it's like we're setting that up in a way that it's all plausible. You know, we seem to have such a luxury that because it's a prequel and there's so little known about Cruella's origin.
Sure.
It really, you know, apart from those few touchstones that I felt were important to have, it really gave us enormous freedom. And there is like these obviously very strong character traits to the way that she carries herself and her laugh and her sardonic way that she has. But that's the fun part of Cruella. That's the stuff you really want to lean into. And this is awful, and I know I'm drawing a blank on her name, but that 1940s character from Lifeboat, the Hitchcock film, that iconic laugh, and we actually pay homage to her in a scene in the motel room where Estelle is sitting there. Is like sort of part of the myth of Cruella is that laugh was based on that actress.